Okay. Okay. I think that my sound is good, and I've got about a minute to go, and we'll get started live. Okay, it's 9:30, so I will start the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Hello there, I'm Dan Weedin. Welcome to Weedin Unleashed, this special day, May 27th, the day after Memorial Day. Normally we do this broadcast on Monday at noon Pacific time. We'll be back doing that again next week. But with the holiday, I thought we would skip Monday but keep this part of it going. I hope that works for you. I know that we're going to have a few people on board here today. And then hopefully many of you will be watching this later. The format is I normally speak on the topic that I bring up, that I write about on my Monday morning extra points. Yesterday I reprised a two-year-old extra points on Memorial Day, one that I'd done last year. I guess this is starting to be a trend, but I thought it really kind of said it all as far as we look towards Memorial Day. And so that's not going to be today's topic. We're gonna do something a little bit different because there's not much to say other than how grateful and thankful we are to our military, those especially who died in the field of battle, and we give all of our respect and admiration and thanks to. So with that being said, I thought, well, you know what? I need to come up with a different topic for today, and so I have. And the topic is going to be around something I found myself writing on this morning. I'm doing an article for a blog, an insurance professional's blog. And as I was writing, I found myself relating my golf game to business. And so I thought, you know what, this might be just the right topic for today. So here it goes. Excuse me. There it goes. You know, when I was younger, when I was in high school, a little over 30 years ago, I was a pretty good golfer. In fact, I was a highly competitive golfer. I was a 2-year letter winner on my high school team, played all 4 years, and in my junior year, my teammates and I went to the state competition here in Washington, and did really well. And for years, during this period of time where I was probably 16 years old to, let's say, 23, 24 years old, that was the nirvana of my golf game. I was at my best. I was a really good golfer. I played very tough courses and shot in the 70s, and was pretty good. And so that continued on, like I said, after high school. In fact, I got a little bit better as I was into my young adult life. I got a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. The equipment got better, and I found myself playing really well. Well, as things happen, you end up gaining a family, children, work commitments get bigger and better as you get older, and I found myself playing less and less golf. Here's where the correlation comes in. When I was younger and had a ton of confidence in myself and in my game and in my swing, I was fearless. I never had any apprehension about taking a big risk looking for the reward because I had so much confidence in myself and the practice I put in my swing, and because I was playing all the time. You know, it was rare. It was a surprise to me if it didn't work out. And so ultimately, my scores were pretty good because I took some risks. I had the skill, and it worked out. Well, as I became much more comfortable in my life and in my game, I stopped practicing. What ended up happening is that the results didn't materialize the same way. And getting out of that comfort zone had a lot of fear. And so as I became an adult, some of those shots that I was fearless when I was a kid. I was very fearful. Am I going to plunk it into the water? Am I going to go out of bounds? Am I going to do something? I'm going to roll it on the ground. What's going to happen? I didn't have those when I was younger. I had lost confidence in myself and in my skill and in my lack of practice. And so I became more conservative. Well, what do you think happened? In golf, my scores got worse. And in business, the same can come true to you. So let me try to pull these together. It's part of what my professional coach and mentor, Alan Weiss, calls the success trap. In my golf game, I became very successful because I had worked hard at developing my skill, and my confidence grew, and I took appropriate risks, and my scores were good. As I got comfortable, as I got into, I had this modicum of success, and as I got comfortable, and people said, "Oh, Dan, you're such a good golfer." Well, all of a sudden, I became fearful of actually screwing up, of messing up, of hitting bad shots, and of having higher scores. And so I became much more conservative, didn't play as much as I wanted, and the shots that I once took, I didn't take anymore, and counterintuitively, my scores went up. In business, you're going to find, and this is what I was writing to the insurance agents, but it's true for any business, you're going to have a modicum of success early because you're doing all the right things. You're doing them every day. The activities and the behaviors that you need to be successful in your career, you're doing. And with that comes increased confidence. And with that increased confidence, you're willing to take some risks. High rewards, but you're willing to take some risks. Once you get into that success and you start bringing in what? You bring in clients, and you have to service those clients maybe in some way, and they take more of your time, and you're not able to do all those activities and behaviors because you have all these other things that are taking your time. And so what happens, you become good at customer service, or you become good at doing some of the things that you don't necessarily like, that didn't bring you the success. And so because you're doing it less, your confidence goes down. And what happens when you want to go out and do those activities and behaviors as you did before? You're not as good at them. You're fearful that you're not going to do well. You're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to be rejected. You're going to be found out. And so just like my golf game suffered, your future success suffers because you've got caught into this trap. So how do we get out of it? We get out of it by understanding, first of all, that we're in it, or what it is in general. I think a lot of people get caught into the success trap and don't even realize it. And so when people say, boy, it's just same old, doing the same thing every day, just kind of grinding it out, those are red flags. That type of talk, self-talk or even outward talk, saying, oh, just doing the same thing every day, same day, new routine, or not even a new routine, but it's the same old. When you find yourself having that type of thinking, that means you might be caught in the success trap. So you have to understand what it is first of all. The second thing then you need to do is figure out, okay, once I've done this self-assessment, I realize I'm in it, what do I have to do to get out of it? And that involves change. And change, as we get older, can sometimes become we could be more fearful of it. But there's got to be some unique change. You have to do something new to get out of it. Now, many times it's going back and doing the things that you did before that became successful. But that's not so easy because it becomes a time issue. And so we have to take a look at priorities. We have to take a look at dumping baggage, doing some of the things that we don't like to do. I held a webinar on this recently, again, for insurance agents. Held a webinar on this, and I kind of posed out to them, what are some of the things that you're doing that you don't like to do? Some of the things that are keeping you from doing the activities that made you successful in the first place. For a lot of them, it's sitting behind a computer screen and doing work. Most of you out there who are probably watching me at some level are in the business of acquiring new business. You're in the business of acquiring new clients and all of that. Well, it's hard to do when you're sitting behind a computer screen. Now, granted, you have some work to do and some things to do, but can it be delegated? Can it be done differently? Can it be done more efficiently? You know, a lot of the things that we used to do and we've done because we've always done them, hey, technology may be able to help you with that. So it's really going out and finding those new things to do, dropping some of those weights, and moving onward. A lot of times it's new hobbies. You know, if it's a personal life thing, because the success trap happens in personal life as well. Maybe it's adding a new hobby. Maybe it's learning a new skill. I've been working on advancing my Spanish. Worked on my Rosetta Stone this morning. I'm trying to do that a little bit every day so I can build up my skill there. What are you doing to help yourself? I know it looks like we have at least a couple people on board, so I'm going to ask. We have the question side over there on the right-hand side. We're talking about the success trap, as my coach Alan Weiss talks about. I'm talking about trusting your swing a little bit more and having that fearlessness that you had when you first got started, and making sure you can find that again, because I know it's in each of us, and it really boils down to confidence. So my question to you, if you're out there and you're willing to join in, what are some of the signs in your world of being caught in this success trap, of being caught in a place where you're not growing, you become stale, you know, the confident, you're comfortable. I mean, that's a word I haven't used yet, but I've used a lot in the article I'm writing. You become comfortable in your life, you become comfortable in your income, but in doing so, you become more fearful of going out and really rising above. What are some of the signs that you see? If you have any questions, if you'd like to jump in on this conversation, this discussion, would be happy to do that. Some just fell off to the side. This is live TV, so to speak. At least Captain Jack is still here sleeping and hasn't caused any ruckus himself. So feel free to jump on and share your thoughts, share your comments, ask a question. I'm going to continue to keep on going here as we are, let me see, we're about almost 12 minutes into this. So in review, anybody, any career, any personal life can get stuck in a rut. I call it the success trap. That's because Alan Weiss called it that, and I learned from him. But we call it a success trap because you got there by building something to a level of comfort, and how he explains it is all of a sudden you start doing things that you really don't like to do, yet you do them because everybody thinks you're good at them. I'll use an insurance office scenario. You build you're an agency owner. Maybe you have a small agency, a few employees, and you've built it up by working hard and getting out in the community and meeting new people and offering tremendous value, but you're face-to-face with a lot of folks. You build in those new clients, and now you're stuck behind a desk. Everybody says, oh, you're so good at customer service, you're so good at taking care of all this, you're always there, we're always able to find you. That all of a sudden you become stagnant, and you become fearful and can't climb out of that to raise to new heights and reach the levels and maximize your potential. So that's what the success trap is. Let's take a few more minutes to get out, tell you how to get out of it. Number one is you have to define it for yourself and know that you're either in it or you're going down that slippery slope. Understand what it looks like, understand how it feels. Number two is find something to change. There's got to be something to change, because if you keep on doing what you did, you're always going to get what you got. I think I said that right. If you always do what you did, you'll always get what you got. And so in order to change the outcome, you're going to have to do something different. Time doesn't change. The amount of time doesn't change. So you're going to have to find a way to prioritize different. You may have to drop some of the things that you're doing. Hey, you might have to move clients over. If you're an organization that you can give some to some new people, you might have to do that because you have to create some space. You have to create that time. So dropping some baggage, dropping some weights, making changes, that's a critical part to it. Now here's the last piece, and it deals with trusting your swing. You are successful once. You're always going to be successful as long as you are doing things that you know that you can do. Keep that trust. Trust your swing that it's good. You haven't all of a sudden just lost it. You're good at what you do. You're going to have to trust yourself and be fearless. That's easier said than done. And I see Dave just wrote something, so I'm going to come to that in just about 10 seconds. Being fearless is not just saying, "Hey, I'm not gonna have any fear. I'm gonna be fully confident." You really have to truly believe that, and then you have to go out there with a level of emotion and passion and you're excited about doing it, and that's what brings on the high level of self-confidence. Let me see what Dave wrote. Working in the business day to day versus working on the business. Dave, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, we've heard that from a number of different sources. A lot of leaders in business talk about that. That's a great point, Dave. All of a sudden you're working in your business in a day-to-day routine instead of working on your business in what I would call a strategic level. So the working in the business, I'll use me as an example as a solo practitioner consultant. Working in the business is about working on a project, responding to emails, doing things kind of from a day-to-day basis that it might involve just even the business aspect, but it's working on stationary things here that I'm just doing, or tactical. What I need to do is be more strategic, or what I really work hard at doing is planning time to be strategic, to think about things into the future, and how can I make my business better by giving more value to other people. How does that look? And sometimes that means just sitting around with your hands behind your head thinking and strategizing. So Dave, you're exactly right. We can get caught into the day-by-day doing work as opposed to thinking about the strategic part of our business and how do we move on to that. And that might be one of the changes that you're looking at doing. Thank you for sharing. So I think actually Dave might be the only one we have out there today. It's post Memorial Day. I think we had a couple more. Sometimes I have more people than it shows on here. But I'll throw out the last salvo. Anybody else have anything to add? Any questions you'd like to bring up? And I'll kind of put a summary, put a bow around this for this week. But as a reminder, next week we're back to Mondays. I think it's June 2nd. We'll be back to Mondays at noon Pacific time, and we'll be talking about whatever extra points topic I decided to write about, or maybe Captain Jack writes about. So bottom line, if you're listening to me, you're probably at some stage of your career that you've had success. You want to avoid getting into a rut. You want to avoid doing too much of the day-to-day and getting stuck doing things that you really didn't sign up, that you didn't want to do. So number one, understand what that looks like so you can actually feel it. Too many people get stuck in it and don't know about it. Number two, have a plan to get out of it. Find something to change. Find something to add that's new. And I guess one thing that I forgot to mention is find somebody to help you do that. I have a coach and mentor. I have an accountability partner. And I have people who can help me when I start feeling this way. Everybody feels this way. Everybody gets to that point at some level. It's not always the best idea to use your spouse. I'm a big believer in finding a coach, a mentor, an accountability partner, somebody who's a peer or somebody you look to for advice to help you get out of this, because sometimes it's a matter of discussing and strategizing with somebody else. I'm a big believer in what Patricia Fripp says, you can't be brilliant by yourself. And so find somebody to help you. Bottom line is you've got to find a way to keep from ever getting into a fearful situation and having anxiety and fear dominate any type of your career or your life. This is about leading life boldly and going out and trying new things and taking risks. And for you golfers out there, taking that shot over the water and going for the green, because more often than not, if you've got the skill and you've got the confidence, you're going to find that reward comes through. So I don't see anything more on here. We've gone about 20 minutes. I'm thankful for Dave. Thank you for sharing and joining in. And anybody else out there who's watching either live or later, my thanks to you. Again, we will be back next week. Weedin Unleashed. We'll be going live on on June 2nd at noon, and I will look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you for having joined us today. I'll see you next week. Ciao.